Okay, real close.
Okay, we can hear
Got
that.
it. Okay, so we're going to do an experiential workshop. And you've heard Rochelle's story, and she and I have been conducting workshop retreats, workshops in the mountains. We have every month. And to give you an idea, she will take you through some exercises at the beginning. I will take you through an exercise. She's going to talk about the 7 paths again and then focus on one of the paths. She's going to work throughout the time that you're listening. If you get connected to one of the paths, because the book is not linear, you don't go through the book as if here's the beginning and here's the end and you've gone through. You begin at any one of the stages, any one of the paths. About halfway through, the workshop's going to be started at 12:30, finish at 1:30. About halfway through, Rochelle's going to ask if there's anybody in the audience that to experience what it is. Empathic relationship. Is anyone true? Is anyone got something that work with one of them? One-on-one on the stage. Opportunity is for you all to identify with what's happening on the stage. Hand it over.
You want to do let's start with an exercise, which is going to be really fun. So Michael will lead that exercise.
Okay, so earlier today, you experienced the power of the mind. I want to just give you another example. If you could, please, close your eyes. And what I would like you to do is get connected to the chair that you're sitting on. The chair's connected to this building. And you are in a safe and secure environment. And now I want you to listen to my voice very carefully. And I want you in your mind's eye to imagine something with me. And I'm going to describe what it is, and I want you to follow in your mind's eye with that imagination. So I want you to imagine that in front of you is a 12-foot long mahogany board, 12 inches wide, 2 inches thick, and 12 feet long in front of you, ground. And I want you to, in your mind's eye, look at that 12-foot long mahogany board in front of you. And I want you to imagine you take your right foot and you step. And you take your left foot and put it in front of your right foot. And you slowly walk down the length of the board. Okay? Slowly walk down to the end of the 12 foot. It's about 12 steps. And now come to the end of the board and turn around. And now the mahogany board is in front of you again. Okay. I want you to imagine that we have lifted the board 3 feet into the air, and you, in your imagination, you are just hovering 3 feet in the air. Step onto that board. The board is 3 feet off the ground. I want your right foot onto the mahogany board. Step. and walk down to the other end of the mahogany board, 12 feet, 12 steps. You're 3 feet up in the air. Okay. 9, 10, 11, 12. Step off the board. And now what I want you to do is turn around, and I want you to face the 12-foot board again. And this time, I want you to imagine in your mind's eye, there's a wind blowing. There's a storm on the horizon. And it's windy outside and the trees are rustling. And I want you to imagine that the mahogany board is 50 feet up in the air, 5 stories tall. And the board is right up there. And you're up there with the board, and you put your first foot on the board, and first right foot onto the board, and you stand, and then you take the left foot and you put it onto the board, and the winds are blowing outside. Storm on the horizon. I want you to walk down the what how do you feel? Can you make it? Can you make it to the end? And whoa, yeah, you're at the end of the board. Okay, wake up. Open your eyes. Come back to me in this room. Okay. Who experienced a certain level of uncomfortableness when the board was up? Did you to walk the board? Okay. Right. But when it was on the ground, there was no problem. Walk up. Correct. Okay, so that's what happens in the therapeutic encounter. It's a story. It's imagination. What happens is that Rochelle takes you back into the past to those scary things that happen in a safe environment, and you relive those experiences in the safety of a therapeutic space. He reframes those with you, and usually you're terrified because who you are now is an outcome all of the things that have happened to you. But when they happened originally, you didn't have the mind or the thinking to understand what happened. And in this space, in this therapeutic encounter, you cry, you release. In being able to tell your story, released. It's the work. And Rochelle,
No,
she
thank
will
you.
show. I want to really honor all of you. It's a magical space. Things happen. It's triggered you. It's scary.
It won't be, don't worry.
Okay, I want you to know, totally safe. Just let it release.
It's not going to be scary. You'll be okay.
Do a safe meditation. Let's just in service to the space. Safe meditation.
So go ahead and close your eyes. And as you're taking a deep breath, you may notice that your shoulders drop. And I'm going to count from 1 to 10 and 10 back down to 1. And you may notice that on each and every count, you feel more calm and relaxed. Relaxed and calm. Starting from 1, you can feel the room around you, knowing that you're very, very safe and protected. 2, you can feel the chair beneath you, safe and protected. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, going back down, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. letting go and releasing, releasing and letting go. What I'd like you to do is visualize, picture, or pretend that you can see a beautiful white light hovering over your head. It's like the sun. You can feel its warmth and its glow. It's pushing away all the chatter in your mind. Right now, it's just time to check out, take a breath, just relax. It's nice sometimes not to have to think. Allow the light to travel over your forehead and over your eyes. There's nothing to see. There's nothing to do. In fact, while your eyes are closed, look down, and you may even feel more relaxed. Allow the light to travel over your face, relaxing all the tiny muscles in your face. It's kind of like you're thinking of a big block of ice that's strong and rigid. It's frozen. When you put that block of ice into the sun, it melts drop by drop, changing its form, its size, and eventually it melts into a pool of water that you can just float. Allow the light to travel down through your mouth, knowing that sometimes silence is golden. Because when we're silent, we can listen to the higher self. What's true? What's real? It's usually all good. Allow the light to travel down through your throat. You may feel the need to swallow, and that's okay. And allow it to hover over your shoulders, releasing and letting go and releasing. You no longer have to hold on to those bags of cement that you've been carrying on your shoulders. Just let them go. You really don't have to hold on to them anymore. Just let go. You don't need them. Releasing and letting go and releasing into the chair and onto the floor. Allow the light to travel down through your arms and out through your fingertips, maybe noticing that one hand and arm is heavier than the other. I don't know, maybe one hand and arm is so heavy you don't even want to pick it. Why bother? It's nice to be in a calm and peaceful state. Allow the light to travel throughout your back and over your heart, and this is where you know what you know what you know. As Carl Rogers says, we all have the answers within ourselves. All we have to do is listen. And it is the meaning behind our experiences, good and not so hot, that have made us who we are today. And some of us have been chosen to experience things that others haven't. We are blessed to have experienced those because, again, it has made us who we are today. We don't have to fear them. We can make them okay. We get to decide how we want to choose to view the experience. Especially when your experiences are in the past. It was just a learning opportunity to move up the learning line of spirituality. That's why you no longer fear these experiences. You're more interested in maybe learning what they meant. Just a lesson, that's it. That's it. Perhaps you can take those experiences and pretend you're reading a textbook. Learn from the textbook and move forward. Let it go. That's why you're safe and protected. Safe and protected. You're safe and protected. Because you know how to let go. Allow the light to travel throughout your legs, your thighs, your knees, your shins. And allow it to puddle around your feet, lighting the path before you, understanding that with each and every step you take, it is a journey between the steps that is teaching you what apparently you need to learn. And you're making that okay now. so you're no longer upset. Now know at any time, if you need a little additional assistance, you're feeling out of sort, all you have to do is gently close your right hand. Gently close your right hand. And know that all the light is in that hand. All the light is in that hand. And you can take that hand and you can place it over your heart. And take a deep breath. Be grateful for what it is you have learned. And make it okay. If you need additional assistance, just close your right hand. It's going to hold all the light. Place it over your heart. Take a deep breath. You can say, I am grateful for the experience. I've learned what I need to learn, and now it's time to move forward. I'm going to count from 0 to 5. And when I get to 5, your eyes will be wide awake. You're going to remember what you just did and know that you can call on it anytime you need to, and that our past experiences were only opportunities to learn the lesson that we were called this time to live. Nothing more, nothing less, so be it. Starting from 0, you can feel the room around you. 2, the chair beneath you. 3, when you wake up, you're going to be feeling absolutely wonderful, peaceful and calm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes wide awake. In the last chapter of my book, I talk about, I'm sorry, it's not a chapter, it's a conclusion, from grapes to vinegar. And I'm not going to give the story away, but it's all about everything that happens in our lives. We can choose to look at it as a learning experience, or we can continue to feel the trauma. If we're feeling the trauma, we haven't yet learned our lesson. That's all it is. That's all it is. It doesn't have to upset you unless you allow it to. Anybody here feel heavy? Good, good, good. Listen to the download on my website, thesoulscoach.com. It's this free membership thing. And listen to, if you'd like, the stream of obstacles, not when you're driving. Don't listen to it while you're driving, because it really helps you work with your thoughts. So I want to go over, because I've already spoken to you about what the 7 paths are. But I just want to refresh your memory. There's denial, settling, playing out. It's also on my website on thesoulscoach.com with a little like brief description. Denial, settling, playing out, acceptance, intention, spirituality, and your new story. And these paths, you can take one at a time if you need to. I personally like one at a time, because if one doesn't work for you, just read it, identify it, and move on. But Michael's right. Some people just need to work on acceptance and they know it, and that's fine. I'm a bit of a scientist. I like the whole methodical, get through A through Z kind of thing. Then there's something that we're going to do today called the wisdom triangle. And when I was talking earlier about you take the past, sorry about that, but and you're projecting it into the future, and it's becoming your here and now, and that's why you feel afraid. You're triggered, you're upset. When we release the past, because the past is past, there's nothing we can do about it. It's just a story, it's just a lesson. Our future, truthfully, we don't know what it's going to be like, because none of us know what's going to happen in the future. We don't. But what we know is what's happening right here and now. And everyone is sitting in this room, hopefully feeling very relaxed and calm. So when we did up earlier, the take a breath and just stop, and you go into a few seconds of nothingness, is a nice place to be. You're in nothingness because nothing's going on. What's going on is your story, the storybook syndrome. And that, what depends on what you learned, you're projecting into the future. And that's the way you see the world right here and now. And your outer reality is reflection of your inner reality. Does that make sense? Does anyone have questions on that? Okay, good. So what I want to do is, so the wisdom triangle is working with the past, the present, and the future. And I'm wondering if anyone wants to come up here and let me work with you for a bit and do a demonstration. Want to come up? I have time for 2 people. You'll come up too. Want to come up? So I need a chair. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to move mine, which I can do. But that's good in front of me. That's so I can see her. I need to see you. Okay. All right. Can you state your full name? We need a microphone. Let me get a microphone. For me, can you say it 2 more times? Got it. It's not working. It's a test. Oh, I heard something.
Cheryl Lynn Nueva España.
I have your permission for this to be taped.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because now I get to hear what's going on. So tell me the issue.
Pass. So, understand. I dealing with anger, fear,
From what?
from abuse,
Mm.
physical and mental abuse.
Where did this happen? What state?
In California, and it happened as a small child, and later in my ignorance, it happened in my past marriages.
You're not ignorant. You just were learning a lesson.
Yes.
You were not ignorant. So growing up, you learned that you weren't good enough.
Correct.
Because when our parents, parent to parents,
Parents.
when parents tell us as small children we're not good enough, and then they abuse us physically as well, verbal abuse is just as bad. I don't like abuse at all. We children take it as you did something wrong. Because if they really loved you and there was nothing wrong with you, why would people be treating you this way? I always say it's like when you kick a dog long enough, they're not going to get back up. So with children, you're treated poorly and you believe it. It's formed your belief system. And then what happens is that you feel that way about yourself, and then you attract a relationship that is your mirror reflecting right back to you what you need to heal. Because if you didn't feel inferior, you were good enough. I know this story very well. You would have not attracted a person that treated you in that way. Does that make sense?
I agree.
And then it's in your here and now because it's what you know,
Correct.
right? The wisdom triangle. So here's my question. If your inner child, that little girl that was treated poorly, was sitting in this chair saying, why are you treating me this way? Am I not good enough? What would you say to that little child?
I would say you are good enough. God loves you. And remember that and believe it.
And what if she were to say, yeah, but that's not true because my mommy and daddy don't take care of me. They don't love me. If they love me, why would they be treating me this way?
I don't have any for that.
Well, then how do I know I'm good enough?
Through experience and coming to church and making friends and being validated as a good person and growing up.
So because you were born, just being born gives you the right to be loved and worthy and deserving.
Right.
Now, what would happen if I told you, this is what we believe in spiritual psychology, that our souls come in and choose our parents?
I believe you. I need to tell you I was adopted. So I haven't, my parents were chosen. As a kid, I used to think, well, they could have done a better job. If I didn't choose them, they chose me.
But the soul chose to come in and have this experience. Being adopted, that's an issue on its own. It's not an issue, but we make it an issue. And coming into a family that weren't so kind. And believe me, I'm not saying it's right. I'm a major child advocate. I even have a product for children. I work with a lot of children. So I'm right with you. But it happened. And when you talk about forgiveness, start with that one, and anger. I understand why you're angry, because why? The answer is why me? This isn't fair. It's wrong. It makes me mad. Okay. The way to think of that is what I just said. You're a soul having a human experience. That's what I believe. That's what I teach. In your soul came in to experience this. Because obviously you have one heck of a lesson to learn called forgiveness, acceptance, and compassion. The forgiveness piece is that you can forgive yourself for buying into the misbelief that you were supposed to experience anything else different. They were experiencing their own curriculum. And I don't know about you, but I would not want their karma.
No.
Wouldn't be good. Now imagine for a minute, if you were those people and you had that hate, it came from somewhere. I don't know what happened to them as a child, but I guarantee you it came from somewhere, because what they were doing was projecting how they felt about themselves, how they were treated, onto their own child, right? So all of this hatred and sadness and darkness went right onto this innocent, helpless little child. So is it possible to forgive their curriculum, see that,
Yes.
and have compassion for their experience? Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Is it possible for you to forgive yourself for buying into the misbelief that out of this difficult situation that you didn't come here to learn something?
Yes.
Can you?
I came here to learn compassion and love and healing people. That's what I came here to do.
And if you hadn't gone through this experience, you would not have that compassion and empathy to help others. It's a rough road,
Yes.
right? Even with what you just told me a few minutes ago with the stroke. It's a rough road,
Yes.
but look how much compassion you have. Now, my question is, can you show that self-forgiveness and compassion for your own journey?
That's still a work in progress.
So if your little girl is sitting across from you, I'm that little girl, and she says, I don't know about this forgiving myself and compassion for myself. I don't understand. Can you explain it to me? What would you say to her?
I would say, I love you. You're beautiful. You're kind. And you're perfect, just the way you are.
But why me? Why did I have to experience this? I want to be like my friend. She has this perfect family. They do this holiday thing every year. And I mean, there aren't any problems. Why did I have to do this? No.
I would tell her that, trying to remember the question.
If the little girl said, it's not fair, why me? I don't understand. Out of all the people that I know, why did I have to go through this? And why did I have to be adopted? Why didn't my original parents want me? But why did all this happen to me? I know what you're saying. I need to forgive myself and have compassion for myself. And I know you're reparenting me and I can lean on you, thank goodness, because I trust you and love you. But I need you to explain to me, why me?
Because you had
That was it.
a very tough lesson to learn. And
Can you hear me? You push mute. Just hold it down there. Nope. Can you hear me? Let's just hold it closer to you. Why isn't it working? Come here. Little girl saying, why me? Why me?
because you're special and you have a special gift that will become clear to you later on in life. I would say to take a real strong look at your friends and realize that their life could be just as confusing as yours. It may look beautiful on the surface, but that's only surface.
Exactly. Just hit the nail on the head. Exactly. Does that make you feel better?
Yes,
Why do you have compassion for yourself now?
because I love myself. I'm a good, honest, kind person.
How can you release the anger around your parents?
I can understand that they did the best they could. That's been hard for me to accept.
So the acceptance is my parents were doing the best they could because they grew up obviously with some issues. And since nobody was there to help them, they were oblivious, and they took it out on me. And I have so much compassion for them because I would never want to walk in their shoes and I would never hurt a child that way. And I am so grateful that I have not been sentenced to walk down that path.
Yes. And I need to say it was my mother that had the problems. My father was the kind one.
So if I'm your mother, what would you say?
I would say, I forgive you. And actually, I'm sorry for you.
I have compassion for you.
I have compassion for you.
Uh-huh.
And thank you for adopting me and doing the best that you could.
And what would you say to Spirit about the lessons you've had to learn?
I would say, thank you for reinforcing my compassion and love of others and for myself. And I understand.
And if you could say, I'm grateful for, what would you be grateful for?
I'm grateful that I have forgiven myself and that I can enjoy life, appreciate it, not say, woe is me, and if a problem occurs, how to solve it.
And you realize that you would never be who you are today, helping the people you've helped, if you had not gone through this experience.
I do.
The meaning behind your suffering was to make you who you are today, which is a wonderful, fabulous person. You can empathize with people where others can't because you get it. You're walking the walk. And when it comes to spirituality, sometimes we don't want to walk that walk. Wounded healer is a good example. We don't want to walk the walk,
True.
but you had to. So when you have compassion and forgiveness, then you can't be angry anymore.
True.
You see that? It's like you're watching yourself in a movie house. It's just a story. And now that little girl has you, and you have that little girl. So she is safe now because nobody will ever treat her poorly ever again. She has you and she knows you're taking care of her. You have for a long time. She can do whatever she wants. She can play in a field of daisies if she'd like. She can eat ice cream till her stomach hurts because you will let her. And she's also next to you because when you struggle with these issues, she can kind of touch you or pull on your sleeve and say, now, wait a minute, didn't you say we need to have compassion for our mother because she was doing the best she could because she didn't have the skills not to? And when we judge, oh, ho, ho, ho. That's why we have problems in religion and politics and all these things, right? Very judgmental.
True.
If you were to let go of the judgments around your mother and replace them with compassion, if you were to let go of the judgments around yourself and replace them with compassion, you would be free,
True.
right? Does that make you feel better?
It does.
And
Thank you.
anger doesn't exist. What I would suggest is journal. Write down, I forgive myself for judging my mother, da, 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 da. I forgive myself for judging myself. And then I would move into, I forgive myself for buying into the misbelief around you and your mother. And then turn it around and say, I am grateful. I would never be who I am if I hadn't walked down that road. And that's your curriculum. And think of all you've learned
You're right. I've learned a great deal.
and what you can give back. Just you talking to me in back of the room gave me a lot. And that was a 3-minute phone call. Talk.
Thank you.
You'll be fine. Any questions? I forgive myself for buying into the misbelief that my mother wasn't doing the best she can. I forgive myself for buying into the misbelief that it was supposed to be any other way. I forgive myself for buying into the misbelief that I wasn't supposed to come here to learn a lesson. And I forgive myself for buying into the misbelief that I didn't. And then you move into gratitude. My workbook's going to be out in 30 days, and I actually have a journal that comes with this workbook, and you get to write 100 of them in each category. And you don't do it overnight, you take your time. But the more you write, it's an idiomotor response in through the arm, into the subconscious mind, you're going to start believing it. And your gratitude, and I hear you with your story, is you would never, ever, ever, ever be who you are if you had not experienced that. I'll tell you a really quick story. I have a client that was adopted. I usually tell the story up in the beginning of my talk, but I didn't. And she was adopted in Asia. Her mother and father left her on the footsteps of the orphanage. She lived there for many, many years. A family came and adopted her because they wanted a playmate for their daughter. She grew up in this family under the storybook syndrome as you're going to get straight A's and you're going to be a lawyer and you're going to be a doctor or you're not my child. Well, her sister, of course, got straight A's and became a lawyer. My client got A's, B's, and C's. Hey, there's nothing wrong with A's, B's, and C's. If you're trying your best, that's fine. That's all we want out of life, right? Well, she ended up moving to America. When we were talking, she said, Rochelle, it's the land of the free, which melted my heart. And she is now, without saying who she is, one of the most well-known, respected women in the film industry. Her parents still don't approve of her. She had to learn to accept the fact that she was never, ever, ever, never is a big word, but in this case, I might agree with her. She's not going to get her parents' approval. She didn't get straight A's. And let's not forget she was adopted, so she wasn't good enough, right? And she's in the film industry, makes more money than everybody all together, but she's not a lawyer or doctor. The issue was she was having problems in relationships because she wasn't worthy or deserving, so she attracted people that abused her. Well, she learned to accept the fact that this happened. She accepted it and she made it okay. And she realized again that she couldn't be who she is if she hadn't gone through what she went through. Now, what does she do? She has a husband. She's happy. She has 2 children. She travels around the world helping children that are in orphanages understand that they are not the storybook syndrome that they have learned to be, and that they are worthy and deserving by just being born. And she's one of the most wonderful, I love her. Her story is incredible. And in my book, I actually write a few stories, and some are a bit hard to read, but it's all about our curriculum. And you are similar there. Okay? So thank you. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. Your turn. You want to come up? Yeah, come on up. Ask me. Mm-hmm. Ask me. I have to give you the microphone. Good call. I would get up, but I'm a little off keel at the moment.
Have a question for you. I'm sitting here thinking, how can I say this without feeling, posing that here?
That's okay
But it's
too.
important to me because I have a relationship that I have such strong feelings. Less than out of control. I don't know that it's not going to go away. So I have this little veil between that relationship with me. In other words, it's not that me, me, person, and circumstance. That's my feeling. With this person, whenever I think about this person,
You're triggered.
I'm triggered. I know get back to, okay, what is going, what is it? I ask myself,
Did this happen when you were a child? Is this somebody that you know from childhood?
no,
Did something happen to you as a child that needs to be cleaned up and that's why you've attracted this person into your life?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Only because I've had lots of experiences that need to be, but which one?
Okay. So without knowing the entire experience, it's hard for me to get into it, but I will say this, acceptance. When you learn to accept and make it okay that you feel the way you do, that's the first step. It is what it is. No one can upset you unless you allow them to. So if you go back and uncover what happened, an easier way would be if your inner child was sitting in the chair next to you, what would she have to say? I'm upset because every time I talk to this person or interact with this person, I'm upset. Why am I upset? Let that little girl speak. Go ahead and write a journal. Let the little girl talk. Whatever the favorite color of, like when you were young, whatever your favorite color was, or maybe still is, go grab that pen or pencil, crayon, whatever you want, and start letting her write. I'm upset because and see what she has to say. Let her speak. I'm upset. Another one you could do is, this person really triggers me. What does trigger have to say? You're triggering, I'm allowing you to trigger me because we don't point the finger and play the blame game. So I'm glad you're not doing that. And what you're going to do is say, you're triggering me. I'm allowing you to trigger me because, and let trigger write. Let trigger write. And then after you find out what needs to be said, get it out in the open, accept it. And then you get to say, you know what? I understand why this is happening. And I forgive myself for buying into the misbelief that it has to happen because it doesn't. I'm in control the way I think.
I know what it is.
What is it? Good. Perfect. What is it?
Not enough. There's not enough love, not enough attention.
If not enough had to speak, what would not enough say? What do you want? What does not enough want?
I want to feel not enough wants acceptance, or I want to feel worthy. I want to count for something.
Are you worthy?
Yes.
Answer is yes.
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
count for something? Do you count for something? The
Yes.
answer is yes. If your little girl was sitting right here and she said, I don't know, I'm not worthy, I don't mean anything, I never get enough, nobody loves me, what would you say? Can you reparent that little girl?
Yes.
And what would you do if you were reparenting that little girl? What would you say?
I would say you are a beautiful child, innocent.
And it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, it matters what you think. I don't care if somebody doesn't like you. Guess what? That's their own issue. There's millions of people out there. You like yourself. It doesn't matter what someone else thinks. You know you're enough. You know it. When you really, really, really know that and you figure out why, where'd you learn that you weren't? When you really claim it, you will be enough and your life will shift around you. A lot of times when I work with couples, one person comes to see me, the other person doesn't. The relationship will shift. You have to love and honor yourself. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Believe me on this one. It matters what you think. So what I would suggest is to start doing some writing and let the little girl speak. Where did she learn this? And then you need to be the adult and tell her, wait a minute, I don't think so. And you two dialogue back and forth. It's gestalt writing. And then you're going to clear it up. And then what I would do, you can do the same thing. You will too. Then what you're going to do is at the very bottom of all this writing, at the very bottom, when you're finished, you could write 50 to 100 pages. It would be good. You write, bless you, so be it. And if you can, in a safe way, go burn it and let I call them let the whatever you believe up there take it away and help you. And whenever you feel triggered, right, you're going to say, whoa, it's okay, little girl. I love you. You've done nothing wrong.
Oh, thank you.
Does that help you?
Oh, yes. This is
Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay,
thank you so much.
thank you. Okay, can you say your name for me? Okay. So I know you have a mother of 5, right? No.
No.
Okay. Did I mishear you?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me what's happening. Hold it closer to your mouth.
It worked.
Do you have children?
No.
So then when I heard you say you feel like
I
you're
said-
alone.
No, I said I'm
Oh,
14
okay.
my-
Okay.
My mom died.
Were you close to your mom? You don't know. So did your dad remarry? And there were 14 children?
11. Real family.
Okay.
Chaos. And I've done a lot of work with them coming up because they're not well. I feel guilty.
So the people right now back east are not well.
They're pride in my family. On some weird
So I'm just want to, so you feel responsible because people are alcoholics and some people have lost their life over it. And you feel that it was your responsibility to make sure that didn't happen?
beautiful flowers.
Closer.
There was beautiful flowers everywhere. It was really a happy. All dark hair. Like I was the like blonde. So we said that. And I could feel I was very sensitive. I could feel the heaviness. There with my mom. Passed, and it was an Irish. And I just remember smelling the flowers, and they smelled so pretty, and they looked so pretty, but I felt such heaviness.
Do you know where the heaviness came from?
My family.
And why did
And I
they?
wanted to change. I wanted to go away. I wanted to feel happy.
Were they heavy because they were upset that your mother died?
Very.
And how did you, and when you were there, you were looking how pretty the flowers were and you could, the scent.
My sister. They kind of said that I would. She said that when the people came in, I kind of said, I saw them cry. Sad. Okay, my mom died. She went to heaven. She'll be back. And my sister said I made them cry more. And I said, I didn't mean it. She said, we know.
So you were this little girl that was very enlightened. Yeah, and your mommy really loved you and you loved your mom, it sounds like. And but you remember the soul.
And she,
I would think you would. I think it'd be
know
good
it
for
keeps
you.
coming, but I
Get
can
scared.
feel my whole, no, didn't this go? Come back. So
And why do you think you felt responsible why were you the peacemaker? Why did you feel responsible to make sure that everybody was okay?
beautiful.
And your mom left this world early, but she had fulfilled her curriculum and it was time for her to move forward in her life. And as a young child, you were an old soul and you understood that, but all these other people reacted differently.
Exactly.
And because they reacted at at human level, not understanding, not very enlightened, which is okay. It's normal.
Yes.
But because they reacted differently, you, correct me if I'm wrong, took on, oh, maybe it's something's wrong with me. Maybe I'm supposed to be upset. Maybe I'm supposed to be crying. And then you took on guilt. And really what you wanted to do was try to help everybody be okay. And I'm wondering if deep down inside, the little girl understands, well, mommy left, but she went, it was her time. It's life.
She didn't.
Exactly. She
know
is
that.
still with you. And they didn't understand that.
You know, you wouldn't.
Which you know isn't true.
And he said, say that, but I know her, but she,
I'm sure she would. I'm sure she does. Do you think, when do you think you can let go of what they think in their world and embrace who you are and who you've become in your spirituality and really know, which I know you know, that it's true, and live it? Walk the walk. When are you willing to have compassion for their experience and embrace yours? Let's do it now if you want.
and then, oh,
Sweetie, everyone's going to die, and it's not your fault. You can't control it. Your mother's death wasn't your fault. If these people are going to live the way they're living and something happens, it's not your fault. Uh, if any of us in this room or anyone in the world, something happens to us, we can't save the world. Unfortunately, I'm going to say this because it's what I'm hearing from you. Somebody's going to die someday. That's not your fault. You cannot save the world, but what you can do is practice forgiveness and compassion, yourself included. If the little girl was sitting in this chair, me and the little girl, and she was saying, I feel guilty because I can't help them, and obviously I'm wrong because I don't think like they think, what would you tell her?
so
Why is it okay?
I've just always been, I don't feel that things as little I used
So is it my fault that I'm more enlightened and people think I'm weird when I'm not? Is that my fault? Answer the question. The little girl's asking you.
to know. It's act weird. Don't
But you're not everybody else, and you are enlightened. You came in that way, and it's a blessing. And now, because thank goodness you are the way you are and not like everyone else, because they have their journey, you have yours, and you have compassion for them, and it's okay. But now you get to say, I'm going to walk the walk. I'm going to be the enlightened soul that I came in to be. I'm going to trust in spirit to guide me down my journey. And I'm going to let go of the fact that I have to control them in their lives because it's not for me. I'm not God. If you believe in God, I'm not God. Something up there has more control over you do with these people. You're mistaking your job here. That's not your job. Your job is to take care of yourself, become as enlightened as you can, and embrace your experience and tell that little girl, hey, you came in here enlightened. Good for you. But it is, so what? Good. It is easy.
That's where my, the minute I him or sight, all the things, face that so peaceful, so free. And it's like, no, I care because other people are fine.
Well, there are a lot of people starving in third world countries too. Right. You can't save the world. I learned that a long time ago. You can help as many people as you can, but you're not going to save the world unless you can be God. And believe me, if you are, I really want to meet you. I have a lot to ask. Here's the deal. You, unfortunately, I'm going to tell you it's fortunate, get to learn a lesson. And the lesson is that you get to embrace the fact that you were born into this world enlightened more than others, and now you get to make it okay and wish others with compassion and have compassion for yourself and your experience. So now you get to walk the walk. And I'm telling you, it's not easy. But if you choose to do it, which I'm thinking you're going to do now, when those old thoughts come up, you're going to say, I can't save the world. I'm not in charge of other people's curriculum, but I'm in charge of mine. And there is no way that you can doubt that spirituality, and I'm saying this to you because you practice it, is not right for you. Embrace it. And when you get scared, ask for assistance from spirit. When the guilt comes in, I'm not God, I can't save the world. I am worthy and deserving of living the life that I was actually put here to live. And the sooner you do that, the better you're going to feel. Oh, you'll push through it all right. It's going to be hard. We call them stackers.
I have done it.
Good,
And
good.
I go,
Don't do it. Get a rubber band and put it on your wrist. And every single time you think guilt or I can't, snap it and say, that's just a thought, and keep going. Snap it. It's just a thought, and keep going. You could wear it for a year or two if you want. That's how I started. It works. No. The answer is no. You can't help them. You can only help yourself. And when you're in the vibe, when you're in the zone, you feel good, right? And you remember feeling good and peaceful. That's where you belong. Your lesson is to let go and that you can't save the world. That's your lesson. And it's tough, but you're going to have to do it, it sounds like. Okay? You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Do you feel better?
yes, I do.
Okay, good. Okay. That's it. Does anyone have any other questions? That childhood stuff really gets you. Write a letter to the inner child and let the inner child speak and watch what happens and make peace. Yes.
Um, I just wanted to share that I had a similar experience. And so what has really helped me is coming to class and being here, just being here. It's helped so much. Here I know that I can share the truth and I can be a part of everyone's truth. And it makes it much more, I guess I could say, concrete for me, that everything I felt and knew as a child is the truth. And I understand that the people around me didn't understand, and that was okay.
That's
that has
okay.
to be okay for me. It has to be okay because I was only knowing the truth. I wasn't hurting anybody, and my words couldn't hurt anybody, and my feelings couldn't hurt anybody. My joy in knowing that the person is moving on into a new dimension, or whatever you want to call death, because it's just another step into a new life, was free, just like you said, free and peace and joy and bliss. So there's nothing. I didn't do anything wrong.
No. And you gave up judging yourself and others. Let go of the judgments. That's why we have war. That's why all these things are going on. You're judging yourself as wrong. Let go of those judgments and you will be free. That's not your problem. Then they're judging you based on their experience. That's not your problem. What you do is you put down the phone. It's not your problem. You know the truth. That's all that matters. You can come tell me anything you want about me. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say, okay, all right. Sure it is. It's a free world. You can think whatever you want to think. But I'm not going to listen to it. I'm not going to buy into it. I'm probably going to look at you and have a lot of compassion for your experience. Doesn't matter. It's going to bounce off me like it's cement or rubber. That's it, rubber. I get those mixed up sometimes. Rubber. Doesn't matter what they think. Matters what you think. Okay? So you now have permission from all of us in this room to say, doesn't matter what you think, I know the truth. Yes, thanks for sharing. There you go. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. No. Oh, the whole child thing. I get that one.
Everyone.
Thank you.
We'll end.
The loot. Absolutely.
All right,
Stop.
take your
No,
time.
don't. It'll all be in the book.
Just hold, while you're, start with a prayer. God, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to let hearts, wisdom to truth, let go of pain, let go of suffering, attachment, and let go of story. Shall, being who we are, individualized expression